Hello, everyone. I'm Brendan Marcello, sitting across from Michael Niziolek. This is the Auburn Undercover Podcast, presented by WeHaveDonuts.com, DOUGH nuts.com. Delivery service in Birmingham. Make sure to go to the website for more information about how you can even pick up donuts in Montgomery and Auburn at Prevail Union Coffee Shops. Check it out. WeHaveDonuts.com. Mike, Auburn coming off an incredibly dominant 40-17 victory against then number one Georgia. The Tigers now set up a winner-take-all SEC West de facto championship in the Iron Bowl. Winner of that game against Alabama and Auburn moves on to the SEC championship game. Mike, I thought Auburn obviously had a shot in this game. I thought it was going to be close in the fourth quarter. No way did I or many, I'm sure, expect this game to be a blowout, maybe for either team. And for Auburn to do what they did certainly put the country on notice.
Yeah, I know I've received a few tweets and messages on the social medias telling me I know nothing and that, am I going to eat crow? I won't eat crow. But I will say that I did predict the game wrong. I don't think many predicted it right in the context of, even if you picked Auburn, did you see anybody picking them to blow them out, or what the reasoning would be behind that? Because going in, I don't think that was sort of the expectation on either side. Close game for about a half, and Georgia, man, did they make a lot of mistakes, and then Auburn just kind of took off in that second half. Kerryon Johnson proved he was the best running back on the field, and that defense, as Kevin Steele kind of talked about and some of the players talked about it, looked pretty elite. And that word carries kind of extra meaning, and I think that they earned that on Saturday.
Yeah, Auburn certainly looked elite. They did not look like Joe Flacco. They looked very elite, knocking off Georgia in the fashion they did. Georgia didn't even have 200 yards of offense until their final offensive drive of the game, and by that time, Auburn's defense was dancing on the sideline in the field to Soldier Boy and Teach Me How to Dougie. That Soldier Boy, shout out to the Auburn PA guy for making the subtle jab and the callback to 10 years ago when Auburn was down 11 points in Athens. Georgia was wearing their black jerseys. They were pumped up for that game, and they were beating Auburn, and they played Soldier Boy over the loudspeaker, and the Georgia players were dancing, and Auburn threw that back in their face. 10 years later, still very funny. A nice little troll there, as the kids say. But what was really impressive to me in that game, and learning more about it after the game, is Kevin Steele saying that they only had, on defense, 4 or 5 missed tackles total. I mean, that is incredible. There were drives for Auburn in the past, 2013, 2014, and even 2015. I could count 4 or 5 missed tackles on a drive. Mm-hmm. They had 4 or 5 the entire game. And against 2 dynamic running backs in Nick Chubb and Sony Michel, a fantastic receiver in Javon Wims for Georgia, that's absolutely incredible to me that they were able to not only play assignment football and dominate them, but just simply not make like a fundamental mistake.
Yeah, they played pretty good. Wow. And that defensive line, man, I think when Georgia was in passing situations, it felt like they had no chance.
Yeah, they had no shot, yeah.
And it didn't even feel like, they did hit a couple passes early. And Kevin Steele admitted one was just a flat-out mistake. One was a great play by the receiver. But other than that, it just felt like they had literally no chance to get the ball off. And credit Jeff Holland and Kevin Steele pointed out Derek Brown and Dontavius Russell had a lot to do with that. And I've been high on Derek Brown all season. I think he's kind of the unsung hero, just with his athleticism and his size. I think guys struggle to know what to do with him. And he just gets excellent push. And then Marlon Davidson, very good as well. So, and then you have Nick Coe coming off the bench, and just kind of a murderer's row of defensive linemen, and impressive.
Yeah, and if you look like the snap counts, we'll have more of this at auburnundercover.com Monday, the snap counts. They did a lot of rotating, and that's their thing, and they just don't drop off at all, which is incredible to do on any level of football, especially when you're playing against a quote-unquote elite team like Georgia. And their offense, which came in, averaging nearly 280 yards rushing per game, and Auburn held them to 46 yards. And Kevin Steele said, yeah, sure, I've been part of games like that. I mean, he's been coaching for 38 years. But he said, ask him years down the road from now. He said,
this will be one of the games.
This will be one of the games he really points to and remembers. So that's saying something for a veteran coach.
And he said, he's always about don't get a big head, don't kind of celebrate too hard. But when he says, look, they reached that elite status for that in that 60 minutes, that means something, because he's not going to throw that out idly by.
No.
And he hasn't in his 2 years here, and he said they've left a lot to be desired even in good games. And, I think when he looked at the film, he couldn't, he's not going to lie to you and say, look, we got a lot to work. That was not a tape where you looked at it and said they had a lot to work on.
No. And
credit him for saying, because a lot of coaches would, maybe the assistant behind him, but it would just give you nothing. But he said, look, they did it. And I think that the defense feeds off that. I think that this group is mature enough and has enough veterans on it to not let that get to their heads.
Yeah, that's the big thing, as you just mentioned, is that they've got so many leaders on this team. The relationships between the staff and the players is one of mutual respect, and the coaches know they can lean on them to keep everything together. The players were talking a lot Saturday night about, how Deshaun Davis said, especially, that this is the first week that the coaches really let us have fun, and Kevin Steele's like, well, no, we let them play loose and do whatever. The pressure's on us as coaches to prepare them, and then they're supposed to just go out there and have fun and control the things they can control. But you could tell going in this game, not only did it mean a lot, but man, was the team loose. I mean, from the opening kickoff, they're down there dancing practically between every possession, playing loose.
And it was reflected in, look, Georgia made so many errors on top of just they got manhandled physically, especially in the second half. But, I mean, look, this was a close game until they made some of the mistakes. They had that late hit. They had the muffed punt. They had the punting interference, which you rarely see. They were just making mistake after mistake, and Auburn wasn't doing that. I mean, they had some issues special teams wise, but those aren't anything new. That's been kind of their problem the last couple of weeks. And they just were kind of not shooting themselves in the foot on offense or defense. And that did make, I think, a big difference. Georgia hadn't been in this kind of big game since Notre Dame hadn't been down, and they looked tight. They played tight on the road.
Yeah.
You could kind of tell that this was a bigger moment maybe than they had experienced.
Yeah, Georgia had 5 penalties for 55 yards in the first half, and then only had 2 more, but they were for 20 yards, including a personal foul in the second half. And then, of course, the turnover started happening and the muffed punt that led to a touchdown for Auburn.
Because you remember, this was what was it, 16-7?
16-7 at halftime.
And then Georgia gets a stop coming out of halftime. They're going to get the ball there, and then that muffed punt. I mean, and it's over, basically, after that. That just kind of, and it was right on the 30-ish yard line, 25-yard line, right by the red zone. And it just they just fell apart after that. Yeah,
and that's what happens. I mean, it takes one big play like that, and that could just change the entire game.
And you go back 2 years ago, opposite happened, where Georgia returned the punt. Wasn't a blowout or anything, but that kind of won them the game. And those can make. And you felt like in the first half with those kickoff returns, Auburn was a kind of a play away of like they let him return that kick. They're going to get it. It's going to hurt them pretty bad, but they didn't. Settled down, came out.
Yeah,
and then it was over.
They did a better job on kickoffs too. I mean, they weren't booting them out of the end zone, Daniel Carlson, but they were setting them up to where they couldn't have great returns or break.
They realized that their coverage was going to be an issue, so they tried to pooch kick,
corner them and pooch
them, and
they made a good adjustment there at halftime. Auburn definitely. As we said, let's talk a little bit about this. This sets up a monster Iron Bowl again. Second time.
Can't think about that, Brandon. The ULM matchups this Saturday. It's a big one. They're playing well.
Coaches and players can talk about all they want.
They're 4-5.
Fans, reporters are going to talk about this Iron Bowl.
They played Memphis tough, apparently.
Good for them. They beat App State too. Who cares?
Number 18, Memphis. No.
So, whatever.
I'm just saying, ULM fans are going to listen to this and be disrespected by Brandon Marcelli.
So ULM fans are going to listen to this. So
are there ULM fans?
Yes, there are actually. Yeah,
there are?
Yeah. I've seen a few
in the wild.
No,
in the jungles.
I remember seeing them when they beat Alabama back in 2008.
Yeah,
on TV celebrating, and they put a billboard up celebrating their victory. Anyway,
they did lose 58-7 last year.
Last year to Auburn.
Hard to take them seriously.
Yeah. So, all right, moving ahead, Mr. Pessimist, does Auburn have a chance against Alabama in 2 weeks?
I guess so. Huh?
You guess so? That's a strong take.
I mean, it's hard to rule them out, but it's hard to say. I mean, Alabama's pretty good.
Well, the early line is already dropped from like 10 to 3, according to the experts.
That's pretty significant.
Yeah. Alabama by 3, I should say.
It'll be interesting to see, especially with the narrative coming out of last week, Alabama playing down and Auburn playing so up, if that'll kind of get
that's
the
why
Auburn bandwagon going here
sure.
nationally.
Oh, yeah. And the line changed because of that. Those exact two things. You know, Alabama had to score in the final minute at Mississippi State to win. In case you missed it, Alabama trailed for the first time all season in the SEC, and you know, I think Auburn's got a really good shot at beating Bama. I think with the way they match up, Mississippi State showed that you can run up the middle on them, especially with some of the injuries Alabama's dealing with right now on defense. And Auburn's strength on offense is running the ball up the middle. It's not running sideline to sideline. They tried that against Georgia, and for the most part, it was stuffed until they started doing some more eye trickeration with like Eli Stove and even Ryan Davis, and just with quick passes and Kerryon Johnson. But you can't do that against Alabama. But Mississippi State showed you can run it up the middle on them.
Yeah,
and that's Auburn's strength. So I think Auburn's got a shot. This place is going to be nuts. It'll be just like it was 4 years ago in the Iron Bowl. I'm sure they're going to open up the tailgating spot like 2 or 3 days earlier than they usually do. There will be, I guarantee you, like it was 4 years ago, there will be like 50 people out there legitimately just hanging out, and that's where they're going to have their Thanksgiving outside.
It's crazy.
It's the people are going to be pumped for this game, and they should be. I mean, this is only the second time since the SEC started a championship game in '92 that this game is going to decide who goes to the SEC championship game, and it's all happened in the last 4 years. So it's a humongous game.
And it's likely College Game Day will be here, I'd imagine, right?
You would think. Why? Who else? Where else would you go unless it was number 1, number 2? You know? Game day's got to be here for that. And
I'll have to look. I'll look at the schedule.
It's going to be star-studded.
Keep saying that, and then you point out Tim Cook. That's your
Tim
star?
Cook, the CEO of Apple.
That's your star. You're gonna ask him why your phone.
Charles
doesn't work?
Barkley, Frank. You know the big hurt.
Frank Thomas.
Frank Thomas.
Did you forget his last name?
I was right. I was caught up in the middle of trying to remember his nickname.
I thought you were going to say Frank Caliendo.
No, no, I hate that guy. I don't like Frank Caliendo.
Really, you don't like?
He's
Frank
not
Caliendo?
funny.
That's weird.
Anyway, I had a Big Hurt poster, so a Ken Griffey poster as well. But I had Big Hurt. Anyway, Charles
Do you know
Barkley.
Frank Thomas is going to be here? Has he announced?
I'm sure he will be.
He wasn't here the last couple of years. He hasn't been here since I've been here.
When it's a huge Iron Bowl, I mean, I'm just going based off
so
of
you're
reference
saying
to
they're fair weather
2013.
fans? Is what you're saying?
I'm just saying that Auburn alums and people in this department will reach out to them and say, please come to the game. This is humongous.
There's no other way. There's no chance that game day is not here.
It'll be here. Anyway, I think they've got a legit shot. And if the defense keeps playing the way it is for Auburn, and if they can contain Jalen Hurts, they'll win. I'm saying it right now. And they'll go to Atlanta.
Well, but you're saying if they contain Jalen Hurts, they'll win. Are you saying they're going to win? Is that you're making your prediction?
If they
already?
contain Jalen Hurts, they win.
That's an if. But I'm asking if that's your prediction.
Do you know how football works? If they do this, they'll win.
I'm asking for your prediction.
If Auburn scores more points, they win. Is that what you want? I mean, I don't understand.
No, are you predicting personally that they're going to win?
Right now, yeah.
What do you mean right now? It could change. It's day to day.
Yeah, it could change.
Your pick is day to day.
Alabama could get a bunch of guys back. Auburn could have some injuries this week against ULM. But standing right now, if Auburn and Alabama played tomorrow, I think Auburn wins.
But they're not playing tomorrow.
They're not.
Right. So, and you're picking them over ULM.
I've got Auburn over ULM. Auburn a 35-point favorite against ULM. How many people will be at that game?
It'll be a sellout, in quotes.
Well, yeah, it'll be a sellout, sure.
I don't know. Not everybody. That won't be a packed stadium, don't you think?
Are you sure? Well, the good thing about games like that, and I'm being sweet and precious here, is that
being sweet and precious.
Yeah, that they can give tickets away to, like, you know, families that can't afford to go to Alabama
youth.
or whatever. And I'm not saying that. Then give the tickets.
I'm just saying. I mean, I was an example. I don't know.
Anyway, I'm done talking. Michael won't even let me talk. So anyway, what else do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I didn't get a rundown sheet.
I didn't have to have one. Auburn beat Georgia. It
would be nice to have some topics of discussion.
Okay, all right. Jeff Holland, NFL?
100%. Right?
Yes.
I mean, there's no way he can't. I mean, you can't not go. It's his moment.
Are you saying that Auburn's going to beat Alabama?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that.
So, but you're predicting Jeff Holland's going to the NFL.
That's right.
And you don't know that.
That's right. No, he's going.
So okay, so he's got that. All right.
What about Carry-On? You think he's going to the NFL?
I think that's a coin flip. Really, I think it's a coin flip. Now,
if they were to if they were to get to the playoff, I think it'd be the more success they have, the less likely I think he's to come back.
Sure, it'll be like Trey Mason,
like a guy that wants to try to prove something.
Yeah.
Who else is there? Carlton Davis.
I mean, obviously Trey Matthews gone because he's a senior, but they could lose a few guys that you're not expecting. Very possible. That offensive line was so impressive against Georgia.
They won't lose anybody on the offensive line, though. I mean, that's not the seniors.
So,
they'll lose Casey Dunn, who brings toughness.
Does Kerryon Johnson deserve to be in the Heisman race?
No. I don't think so.
Explain.
I'm pulling up his
17 total touchdowns, 15 rushing, 2 receiving.
Hold on.
Little over 1,000 yards. I think he's averaging 6 point something yards a carry.
So he's 8th in yards average per game because he's played 2 less games than a lot of guys. He's got some touchdowns, but
he's got some touchdowns.
He's not leading anymore or even close. Missed 2 games, had 48 yards against Missouri, 63 against Arkansas. He's had 2 big games this year. 2, that's it.
He's rushed for 100 yards in what? 5 games?
6 games.
6 games he's rushed for 100 yards.
6 games.
If he rushes for 150 yards against Bama and then does the same against Georgia in the SEC championship game, I think he gets an invite to New York for the Heisman.
That's not nearly enough.
Ceremony.
Let's go back to 13. Here's Trey Mason's numbers.
Well, they're not comparable because Trey Mason didn't miss action.
Okay. Minus his average, and he's still way over. 317 carries, 1,816 yards, 23 touchdowns, 5.73 yards per carry. Had 300 yards in a game. Last 5 games was over 100. Last 3 games was over 160. And that was against Alabama, Missouri, and then Florida State in the championship. Looking for his per game average.
Alabama and Missouri both had top 5 rush defenses that year.
So he averaged 130. So you take away 2, and he's still going to have finished about 400 yards above. It's pretty significant.
400 yards above.
What Carry-On will probably finish with if you go by average.
Trey Mason played how many more games?
I'm saying subtract the 400, the 2 games that they played different,
Okay.
and Trey Mason still has a way higher production, and I think that's significant.
Okay. Well, I think he still gets invited to New York if he has big games. They got to get to Atlanta, and he's got to have big games against in the Iron Bowl.
And they have to win out, and like you said, he has to have big games, which is not guaranteed. So, it's a lot of ifs.
Well, nothing's guaranteed in life, Mike.
Sure.
Just like you getting picks correctly.
That's right.
So yeah. What was one thing besides Auburn blowing out Georgia that surprised you or really just stuck out to you about Saturday night? Something about the game.
I guess how much they celebrated, just because it's out of character with Gus and what this team has done before. That just the amount of it and during the game and stuff, just surprising, I guess. I mean, I know there was a reference, obviously the 2007 stuff, but
well, they didn't know about that.
Dancing on the field.
It was number 1 team in the country, and they're back home for the first time in a month. So
got to play, but you might have to play them again too.
Sure, yeah. And Gus saying we beat the dog crap out of them.
Like this is a team that they would not let us talk to Rudy Ford for the rest of the season after he said it wouldn't be tough to stop Leonard Fournette. They don't like giving billboard material, and they sure gave a lot of billboard material if you're Georgia in 3 weeks. Bulletin board material
that they were dancing and celebrating.
Beat the dog crap out of them.
Well,
think that's
Kirby Smart said they got punched in the mouth.
It's true.
So
I'm just saying.
Auburn punched him in the mouth, and dog crap came out.
You said, and then they danced on the dog crap and got on their shoes. You just asked what was surprising. It was just surprising.
I don't know. I don't think it was too surprising considering it was the number 1 team, and they were up. They were up 30 points with 3 minutes left. Well, they supposed. I mean, come on. And they were playing music, like legitimate dance music, not like country music.
So your context is that if they weren't playing dance music and they were dancing, it would be insulting.
Yeah.
Since they were playing dance music.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not saying it's insulting either way. I'm just saying that it was set up for them to celebrate and dance at that moment, and they did it.
That was just that was just a surprise.
While I'm on this topic,
you don't have to agree with it.
Why does Auburn insist on playing country music before big third down sometimes?
I don't know.
Have you noticed that?
That's, I think, a Southern thing, isn't it? I just assumed because
no one's into it in the crowd.
The students were singing along that one song. I couldn't tell you what song it was. I did hear them singing along.
But then if they play something else, the crowd goes nuts. But then they play this stupid. I'm not a country fan anyway. But they're playing country songs that no one knows.
I thought that was a Southern thing. I didn't understand it, so I.
All right. I don't know.
So weird. That was surprised you? That was your big takeaway?
No,
country music.
We're talking about music, and I just thought of that because a colleague across the state who covers Alabama, Tommy Dees, asked, why doesn't Auburn ever play "Carry On My Wayward Son"? Isn't
that an Alabama song?
But it doesn't matter. It's a Kansas song. Didn't Kansas sing it?
Yeah, no, I know, but doesn't that some? I don't know. Some of those songs have meanings to other schools. I don't know. I thought
you'd still play it though.
I'm not the DJ. I don't have the DJ's playlist. I don't make the playlists.
Well, we need to get a hold of DJ because this is weak.
You're outraged. So, what was your surprise takeaway?
My surprise takeaway was
you dog crapped all over my surprise.
Gus Malzahn not wearing a sweater vest. I don't know. He hadn't worn a sweater vest all year.
He wore a polo, but it was cold, so he put on a hoodie. He came out originally with the polo. Talked to recruits.
It's cold. Christy, you did me
wrong.
Actually
did. They went back in the locker room. He's like, it's cold. It's chilly. He needed the hoodie.
It's chilly.
Because his original outfit was no hoodie. And then he came back out.
You say he was naked?
No, I said he had a polo.
He said nothing.
No hoodie.
Oh, okay.
Not.
Gus Malzahn was topless before the game.
So,
what about the dog crap out of him?
So what was your surprise?
That Sonny Michel and Nick Chubb not doing a dang thing.
I was going to say Sonny Galloway at first. I was like,
Sonny Galloway showing up and delivering papers to Jay Jacobs.
Not having a run over 7 yards even. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I expected them to have like 2-3 big runs at least. They had 0. Auburn didn't allow a dang thing. Didn't allow any daylight for them. That was really surprising to me. I thought they would get a big run. I mean, their biggest plays, Georgia, was through the passing game to Jake Wims, or whatever his name is, Javon Wims, excuse me. And that's it. That was surprising to me. And then I would say, honestly, the second surprising thing to me was how dominant the offensive line was. They were getting upfield in the second half on every single snap. I mean,
well, that was after they made the change again, though. So interesting kind of parallels to that week.
Yeah, I wonder if Darius James stays on the sideline for the Iron Bowl.
I think at this point you kind of got to have to.
Yeah, because it's working now without him.
And Markel Harrell, if you would ask me, gosh, 6 weeks into the season, who's going to be the starting left guard for the biggest games of the season? I wouldn't have picked him. And so he's kind of come on.
Well, it kind of proves to you once a guy gets injured and you go in there, and take advantage of your opportunity because you might just be the star the rest of the season.
Well, and it's tough. Ankle injuries, you kind of shrug off and you say, oh, it's not a torn ACL or oh, whatever. But they're not easy to just bounce back from, especially when you're 300 pounds and you got ginormous people trying to attack you. It's probably good to have two
big
healthy
human
ankles.
beings.
Yeah.
So huge victory for Auburn. I think Auburn's got a shot against Alabama. Mike thinks Alabama beats Auburn by 58 points. So we'll see who's correct here in 2 weeks. But it's gonna be it's gonna be crazy here in 2 weeks. Very crazy.
Should be fun. Maybe we'll see a good football game. That's all I want to see.
Well, we still haven't seen a good football game.
So,
Georgia.
Because that first half, I mean, they had a bunch of ugly, stupid mistakes by Georgia. I mean, they didn't play well at all. Auburn wants some of the red zone opportunities back. And then the second half was just, I mean, Auburn certainly played their best football, but, man, they didn't have an opponent on the field. So still haven't seen a good game. Yeah. I don't think we've seen very good half of a game either.
Well, give Auburn credit.
Like two competitive teams going back and forth. That's their point.
Besides LSU, the LSU game for Auburn, they just been beating the crap out of everybody.
Don't forget Clemson and
Mercer. SEC, I meant.
And Mercer.
Their average SEC win margin's 28 points.
So do you think Mercer has a chance this weekend?
I think Mercer has a chance to show up at Tuscaloosa on time for the game. I mean,
but maybe not. Maybe they're a few minutes late.
Sure, they could be a few minutes late. It wouldn't matter because they're still going to get scored on the first drive.
So you're saying Mercer's going to lose the Iron Bowl twice this year?
They're going to lose both their Iron Bowls.
Or do they only get half an Iron Bowl each time credit? I don't really know how that works. You have to check a different website.
The other thing is they're not playing in Birmingham, so no Iron Bowl. Yeah. So basketball is going to be great this week, Mike.
Are you excited about the Charleston Classic?
Are you?
Everybody else?
Auburn plays Indiana State.
Indiana State
beat Indiana by what? Was it 90-69?
Something like that. Over 20 points, yeah.
Nice.
Had Indiana fans booing their new coach.
Yeah, Archie Miller.
Yeah. Not a good introduction to Archie.
No. They hit a lot of three-pointers. Auburn's defense is, not good.
Hey, they beat a Norfolk State team without its two best players pretty handily.
Good for them. So, meanwhile, the FBI investigation is still going on, and Bruce Pearl's in a little bit of hot water with Auburn University as it involves their internal investigation. Bruce Pearl wants everybody to believe that everything's fine. They're working toward a, peaceful resolution or whatever to try and get these two kids, D'Angelo Purifoy and Austin Wiley.
Well, I don't think his message is that they're working towards a peaceful. He's saying that they're working together. And there's no sort of issue.
So they're not holding hands?
I think actually he makes it sound like they're holding hands.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, like spending long amounts of time holding hands together, working on it.
Do you believe Bruce?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
And people are reading a lot into it. We had a lot of posts on the boards like, Austin's on the bench. You think that means he's closer to no.
You were near the bench too. Are you going to play?
Near the bench. I was not. I'm not playing. It's not pretty. It was a weird opener. It was a weird atmosphere.
How was it weird?
Well, Bruce Pearl didn't come out for any of the pregame warm-ups. So literally people are asking on the board, has Bruce Pearl been fired right leading up to the game? You got Austin Wiley on the bench, their best player in a tracksuit. Daniel Purifoy wasn't there, so I'm asking kind of where is he at, and then he tweeted out about his dental work, but I had found that out previous and told people on the board. But you kind of like, is he gone? Is he gone? Just the moment something, you got all these sort of, it's a strange sort of situation, and then teams trying to play.
Yeah, they're trying to play.
They're trying to play.
So yeah, they're scheduled to go to Charleston.
Well, they're scheduled to leave Wednesday. Is the game Thursday?
I don't know. You're the basketball
14th?
beat writer. Tell me.
I think it's the 16th.
Do you think they show up on
Thursday.
time? Do you think Bruce Pearl shows up on time? So it could be an interesting week for basketball on the court and off the court. As it were, controversy surrounds Bruce Pearl, and whatever's going on with him or what's not going on with him. But keep your eyes on that, folks. It could get very interesting this week for the basketball program. Football program, not so much. They play ULM, and we're probably going to be looking ahead to the Iron Bowl quite a bit.
So they play Thursday at 11:30 a.m. on ESPNU.
Oh, it's not a Jefferson Pilot game? Lincoln Financial?
And Friday is still, next Friday, a week from Friday, is still scheduled. They announced it at the arena to be Charles Barkley Appreciation Night. Amidst all of this.
Are they putting the statue up?
That's what we've been told. But...
Where?
Oh, they've built this thing. You didn't see it?
I haven't seen it.
They've built the base.
Where's it at?
Just right in front of the stadium.
The arena?
Right in front of the scholarship entrance.
Okay.
Right, if you're looking at it, like to the left.
Okay.
It's a base the size of like our little area here where we're sitting.
Okay. People can't see what you're doing right now.
I'm talking to you.
Right
I'm not
here.
talking to them.
Right here. Well, you
Talking
should
to
be
them.
talking to our audience. Well, that's good. Auburn still has basketball games on its schedule this season. So anyway, let's go to listener questions. Probably not a lot of basketball questions, but we'll entertain them. Well, everybody talking about football right now, as they should be. One person asked me if our podcast is still on V Sporto. Nope. Travis Johnson asks, why can't Daniel Carlson kick off anymore? He's got a noodle for a leg. Well, he hit a 54-yard field goal Saturday night. But there are questions there. Did you talk to him? Daniel Carlson?
I did not.
I saw quotes from him saying that part of it was their plan and what they were doing. And he said the wind was swirling. Either way, it is curious what's going on there. They can't. The special teams is still a concern as far as kickoff coverage. Joe asks, is Kevin Steele's salary enough to keep him at Auburn? Could he be a head coach? I think those days are behind him to be a head coach, don't you think?
It'd have to be the perfect fit and the perfect offer, and I don't think that there's
an offer you can't refuse?
There might be like a handful of teams that qualify, and I don't think money's sort of an object that would get him to do something that he's not kind of comfortable with.
Jay asks, how many carries for Kerryon Johnson this week? He says anything over 15 is insane.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think they should give him 10 carries and call it a night.
I'll go 20.
But I think they'd probably do 20 to get him some stats, like you said, to get him in New York.
Probably. Jimmy asks, great weekend for Auburn. That's more of a statement. Is Miami back? Sure. Sure, I guess. Sure, they're back.
Yeah, they're back.
We already hit on that question about the new line for Bama being a 3-point favorite. I think it's about right, in my opinion, for this game in the Iron Bowl coming up. Dirt Lawyer asks, it's tough to beat the same team twice in one season. So they say. Would this apply to Auburn UGA matchup in the SEC championship? Yeah, it would be tough. Especially with it being in Atlanta and it being a neutral site game that would favor more Georgia fans being there than Auburn.
Yeah.
Though it's, I would say, almost equidistant between the two campuses, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
right?
Probably. Yeah.
But there would be more Georgia fans because there's more Georgia fans in Atlanta than there are Auburn fans around the area. Having said that, that'd be a heck of an atmosphere. Secondly,
in the new stadium,
Mercedes-Benz Stadium. But I think
just sinking slowly into the ground. Will it still be here?
Is it really?
I thought that's what they had problems with. I don't know.
Holy crud!
Yeah.
That's scary. All right. I don't think I want to cover an SEC championship now if it's sinking. Yeah, I think Georgia, it would be a much closer game, I think.
Well, and to have a rematch is an exciting kind of proposition because you get both teams now with film of playing each other. That's good. That'd be fun. I think that'd be fun.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Take a Knee ask, will Ram Petway be back for the Iron Bowl or possible SEC championship game? I think it's possible he could be back for the Iron Bowl, but we haven't heard anything for certain. That 4-week recovery period that Auburn's kind of hoping for lines up right about with the Iron Bowl. But we'll see. We won't know more until like really next week. That's my opinion.
Yeah. It's a good answer.
That's not that. Someone just sent something that's not a question. They just tell me to talk about. It's a talk about question.
Let's talk about it. What are we talking about?
Well, I'm going to have you answer it then.
All right, let's talk about it.
Please talk about how our offensive line must be able to handle stunts and delayed blitzes. The few times we struggled with Georgia's front Saturday is when they did stunts and delayed blitzes. This has to be corrected before Bama.
Yes.
Sure, you don't want that to happen. I don't know what else.
That was a very detailed question.
Very detailed.
Stay tuned for Brandon's film room this week when he breaks that down.
I do not do film room. We'll leave that to David Speck, War Room Eagle, as everybody knows.
Tweet at him and send him that question.
Send that question. Let's see what he has to say. So
I got nothing.
Yeah, neither do I. So Auburn moving on up to the west side, the SEC west side.
We should end there because that was pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, I don't care. So Auburn in position now to possibly make it to Atlanta. Mike thinks the world will end before that happens because
Brandon won't make it because he will have seen Justice League and dug a hole in his backyard and climbed into it. So we'll be down a man. But that's
what makes you think I'd climb into it? I think I'd just fall into it.
Yeah, no, I mean I'd jump.
I'm already prepared. I'm already prepared for it.
You're preparing yourself?
Yeah.
I'm hoping he live tweets the experience.
I'm ready for.
He's told me he won't do that.
I'm ready for thin Batman and thick Batman in the reshoots.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
And let us know how it goes.
Looking forward to the 3 Instagram filters of Zack Snyder.
You should do a VIP insider, like breaking it down.
Yeah. Well, it's not much to look forward to in life, and you're crapping on mine.
I'm not. I didn't crap on it. Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon crapped on it. They beat the dog crap out of you and your soul and your childhood. So don't blame that to me.
That is true.
We did return the. Okay, so here's something we can talk about. So as my son, I have 2 sons. One's 5th birthday Friday, and he got some presents, and they were good. And it's not the parents' fault. They bought.
Call them out now.
They bought him a Superman toy, lit up. And they don't, most of these parents aren't nerds like I am. But this Superman toy, and they liked it. Ben wanted to open it, but it offended my sensibilities, and I refused. Because the Superman, you pressed a button on him, and it opened and it had wings. Now, I read the toy now, and the wing, it wasn't wings, it was a cape. It was cape wings. But either way, it doesn't make any sense, because Superman can fly, and he doesn't need wings. It made me mad.
Well, listen, maybe
and there was reports this week that Hasbro's trying to buy Mattel, and this is really
I don't know that.
This is really where we can trace what happened, because if they're making toys like that, Mattel, and they have somebody looking at it saying, "We know what we need to do. We need to make a Superman with wings." Yes, they should be bought out and everyone fired, because that's offensive.
Maybe they just wanted Superman to look fabulous.
You know how fans were riled up about this Georgia game? I was as riled up about this Superman toy on Friday.
So you're taking it back. You're taking it out of your
it's taken back. No, it's gone. He bought a DS game with the money. So he ended up working it out. It ended up all working out. And it wasn't the parents' fault. They just bought a cool light-up toy, and Ben wanted it, and his younger brother wanted it. But I said, look, guys, I draw the line. Superman doesn't have wings.
So your kid wanted it, and you said no.
Well, the younger one wanted to play with it. I think the older one would have played with it and been fine, but I said no.
Why not rip the wings off of it?
Well, then it would have been broken. And it could have been dangerous and sharp and hurt them.
Now, was this a Superman that's like based off the movie Superman?
Yes, it was a Justice League branded.
So his suit was like a dark gray and a.
It was the dark blue, yes, and that is also
maroon.
offensive. But I can get back the colors. I can get past the color scheme, sort of.
Oh,
it still offends my sensibilities. But then you look on the back, and they had all 4 of the Justice League members, not Wonder Woman, because they didn't have a Wonder Woman toy made out of this line. It was the 12. It's the 12-inch figures. Cyborg, Batman, and Flash, they all had opening wings. Flash had like electricity that flew out. Cyborg had whatever, metal that flew out. And Batman also had wings, which...
Wait, hold on. He's got a cape.
Cape wings, basically. So all very offensive. The whole thing is just
Well, I don't know.
disgusting.
I mean, I had a Batman toy from the 89 movie when I was a kid that had the wings that popped out from Batman Returns.
But his whole cape, it was the cape... yes, I know, but it's not the same. On the thing, it says wing cape.
So who made these? Hasbro?
Mattel.
So do you think Mattel like went parademons and the Justice League are the same thing? Let's put parademon wings on them.
Essentially. Well, they thought wings would be good, and they're just like, give them wings. Who cares? They're ugly anyway. They're some of the ugliest toys that you will ever see for this Justice League movie.
Well, probably
because it's like that muted color scheme. It's like, you know what you see in a toy? It's like red, and then you see the Flash, and it's like blood. It's dried blood. His costume's the color of dried blood.
Let's go with dried blood on this costume.
And Superman, no good.
Is Superman smiling at least?
No, he's got the red eyes, and he's angry because he wants to kill humanity, as he did in the first one. So it's all very depressing. So that's my story. That's my non-football story from the weekend.
I heard the turning point in the new Justice League movie is that they put Superman on trial for the murder of 18,000 people.
That would be great. Because, he did kill all those people in that first movie. But, so that was, I couldn't do it as a parent. I don't know what you're supposed to do, but you got to draw the line somewhere. For me, it's a winged Superman. I just couldn't do it.
That is kind of crappy. My non-football story is we watched Wonder Woman again. My wife wanted to watch it Friday.
You were live tweeting it when you were supposed to be working.
I wasn't live tweeting it. I watched it late Friday night. Still a good movie.
I was watching Norfolk State.
Yep, you were. I was watching Wonder Woman. And eating Domino's pizza, which I learned hate.
No, my family. Now that we could throw this out to readers, when your family or you have a bad experience with like food poisoning, it's a food you generally avoid. So I avoid Domino's.
I have never heard anybody get food poisoning from pizza. Were you guys like eating raw dough?
I've had food poisoning from various pizzas, like a lot.
Really?
Yeah, that's why.
Maybe you have a pizza problem.
Mainly when I have food poisoning, I get it from pizza. Yeah.
I've had food poisoning once.
I don't even want to talk about it. It gets me. I have like such anxiety about food poisoning. Like it's seriously like I'm gonna have to go home and take a pill.
Whoa! All right, I got food poisoning once from eating a burger at Burger King when I was in
That's what I was gonna
college.
eat for after we leave here. So now I don't even know if I can.
Well, I did. I ate a Whopper.
You ate some tacos at the Jordan Hare Stadium.
You can't say it correctly. This is just baffling.
You ate some tacos at the game that I was scared for you. I thought you were literally going to die.
I'm good today.
You were not good eating them. I saw you, and you were struggling getting it down. You're like, this is absolutely disgusting.
I had to have some food in me because I didn't eat breakfast yet, and I had to have some energy.
You did not have much energy, and you complained the entire time that your head was cold.
Yeah, it's freezing cold in the press box. There's wind.
I don't even know. I'm bald.
Yeah, I didn't bring a beanie.
Shut the windows.
Well, I didn't say that. I just was curled up in a ball whenever I wasn't typing on the computer. So. Just
Good
like
stuff.
Georgia's defense
and
offense.
And coaches.
And the coaches.
And Uga.
Uga? Yeah.
Right? That's the dog's name?
Yeah.
Or did I pronounce that wrong too?
No, I think that's correct. I think.
Is it just UGA and they say they call him Uga?
Yeah, Uga, yeah.
Not very much effort put in that name.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mississippi State calls their bulldog Bully.
That's not much effort either.
Auburn calls theirs Obby.
Also not very much effort.
I mean, what? That's just a college thing. It is.
I guess, yes, Michigan State's Sparty.
See? Sparty, no.
Terrible.
Sparty got their butts kicked.
Yeah, they did. They did not show up.
By Urban Meyer.
I picked that game right, too. I picked that one
Did
right.
you? I don't even know what I picked.
Fearless Forecasters.
You didn't pick Auburn because you hate Auburn.
Everybody thinks so.
So give me a score for the Iron Bowl right now, like 58-7.
It's way too far out. I can't
58-3.
do it.
Do you think Auburn gets a safety? 58-2. Is that what you're thinking?
You're funny. Keith picked Georgia too. So if you are sending hate mail, send it to Keith Niebuhr as well.
Gosh, I don't know, man. You're a disaster. Okay.
Well, I think the Georgia pick was not my worst pick of the weekend. The Tennessee beating Missouri might have been my worst pick of the weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did I pick in that game?
You picked Missouri.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Everybody, but Philip was the only person to have it as a double digit. Keith had 35-30. You had 30-24. So Missouri blew them out of the water.
Yeah, and Butch Jones has been blown out of Knoxville. He was finally fired Sunday. He's going to get a lot of money, apparently. $8 million.
Yeah, could you imagine that?
Getting a lot of money? No.
But just be like, you're fired. Here's $8 million.
Yeah, and they're paying the assistants off, so I think the total is $13 million. Of course, any of that will be offset by any future employment, but still, that guy is guaranteed $8 million.
All right, I guess I'll go to the bank.
I'd take it, stop coaching, and just go find an island.
Yeah. Well, doesn't Will Muschamp have an island and he's coaching?
Does he?
You haven't read that?
No.
He lives on an island.
Where at? Off the coast of Carolina or somewhere in
he has an island.
I know before he got hired here and he got fired at Florida, he went to somewhere like in the Caribbean or something and was literally on a beach with like no cell phone for 3 or 4 days.
See, if you type Will Muschamp it's the 5th Google result. He lives.
If you type Will Muschamp is Will Muschamp iPhone on there first?
That's his island.
Oh, I've seen that picture.
Yeah, it's an island. It's like all surrounded.
Oh, that's not really an island.
I think it is an island.
It's just a house on a piece of land that's really small.
I don't know. Looks like an island to me.
Whatever. Rich people are rich.
It looks like a pretty nice house.
Yeah, well.
2,644 square foot guest house. 9,400 square foot home.
I'll tell you this.
My house would fit in probably one of those bedrooms.
Yeah. I mean, say what you will about Gus Malzahn, but at least he lives like modestly compared to other coaches.
Yeah, I guess.
You guess? Have you seen Nick Saban's mansions?
I have not. I'm not.
Holy crud. Have you seen Will Muschamp's house you just pulled up?
That was nice.
Compared to where Gus lives?
Do you think Gus has a secret house somewhere that's like just like gorgeous? And
no, I think he's probably just saving his money.
He's just saving his money. It's like Jay Leno.
Because he's smart.
I can't spend any pennies.
Well, he's always said that being a coach is like coaching in dog years. So, I don't think he wants to do this.
So you're saying he's retiring after the season?
No, I'm not just saying I don't think he wants to do this till he's like 65.
No, I gotcha.
But who knows? But when Auburn beats Alabama 6 straight seasons with Gus Malzahn as a coach, maybe he'll reconsider. I don't know. So anyway, that's going to do it for this episode of the Auburn Undercover podcast. Michael just hates everything you guys love, and I'm objective. It's very obvious that Michael is a very subjective person, forms his own opinions, and he makes sure that whatever audience he's speaking to, that it is contradictory to their beliefs. Everywhere he goes, walks up to the food line. I'm not eating your damn tacos.
No, I was not eating those tacos.
Oh, Domino's Pizza for free after the game? Not eating that.
That's not true, though. That's not true, though. I was probably the only person in that press box eating ice cream.
Yeah, what's with that? Why are you eating ice cream when it's 40 degrees outside?
It was nice. It was like a fall day, and you were like literally like, I might die of hypothermia.
This is what happens when you do not have hair on your head. Heat escapes from your head.
You look like in the movie Alive. You're like, if I die, eat me. And I'm like, I'll pass. Thanks for the offer.
Didn't they eat the butt cheeks first on that movie?
That's what you're saying?
It was the meatiest part. I think that's what they did.
That's the next taco serving at the buffet. Could be your butt cheek.
Butt cheek meat? Oh my God!
This is taking a turn.
Not only are we're talking about cannibalism right now. This is incredible. You watch Mindhunter too much.
Yeah, that's right.
Was there a cannibal in that? No, there wasn't.
No,
but there might be next season.
Probably.
You never know. All right. Well, I'm gonna go see Justice League this week. Play some Star Wars Battlefront 2 when that comes out this week.
You gonna do any work?
Oh yeah, plenty of work. I'll let you know how that is.
Okay.
I'll send you a video replay. We got a lot of
I
planning
noticed
to
this
do.
too. Did you see this crowd? But the Bears and Packers played. I'm from Chicago. Look at how few people there are at Bears-Packers game. It was a 1 o'clock game. There was nobody at that stadium.
Well, I've been to a Bears-Packers game at Soldier Field once, and it was...
Look at that.
There was less people than that. But it was also like
team,
2 degrees outside with a negative.
Yeah, it was like a little
chill.
rainy, but it was like, 30, 40
And
degrees.
the Bears were out of the playoffs, and the Packers were resting everybody for the playoffs. So, but that's different, I guess. I don't even know the records. I was watching Red Zone today, and I noticed like the 49ers were like 0-8 or 0-9.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
I looked at that. I was like, what? How's that happen?
They might have beat the Giants. I don't know.
They may have. The Giants weren't even better. They had 1 win or something.
The Giants
like
are terrible.
I have no idea what's happening in the NFL. I don't know players in the NFL. Like, I don't know who's playing.
I could tell you, like, 10 years ago, could have told you every player on the Bears roster. I know they got Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, and I don't think I could name a single player. is the North Carolina guy from last year.
So, all right, for example, this just tells you like how out of touch I am with stuff. Well, someone on the beat mentioned a whiskey the other, and they said such and such is going to be in town, and I'm all like, who's that?
Yeah, you were like, can I get tickets? Is that good music? And it's like, that's a whiskey.
Not that. I'm not that outgoing. I was just like, is that someone we have to interview? No, that's a whiskey. Oh, okay. Well, let me go back home and play my video game because I'm a large child. All right. Well, that's it for this podcast. You guys just probably didn't make it through the first 2 minutes, let alone the 50-plus minutes in this one. Thank you for joining us. Auburn Undercover Podcast, provided by we have donuts.com. Check them out. Beautiful donuts. Beautiful. We'll see you this week for ULM. You guys get pumped for that one. And basketball heading to Charleston to play Indiana State. I love you.